Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something that I think we've all faced, like mastering business English. It's like
Mhm.
you're looking at an email and you're just like, how do I sound professional without sounding like a robot?
Yeah, yeah.
So to help us, we are diving into excerpts from San Jose State University Writing Center. They have a really great handout on business English.
Nice.
And it's kind of like our cheat sheet today for crafting those emails that are going to make a killer first impression.
Love it.
By the end of this deep dive, you are going to have the tools and the techniques to write emails that are clear, concise, and make you sound super confident.
Awesome. I'm ready.
Me too.
Yeah.
And one of the things they jump right into is tone, which is so important. It's that sweet spot between overly casual and overly formal. Like, you don't want to sound like you're texting your best friend, but you also don't want to sound like you're writing some legal document.
It's a fine line to walk, for sure.
It really is.
It's about, you know, projecting professionalism, but at the same time still being approachable.
Totally. And I mean, you know what they say? You never get a second chance to make a first impression.
That's true.
And in the business world, your emails, a lot of times that is your first impression.
Yeah, it's your digital handshake, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I think this handout is so valuable.
Yeah.
Because it really breaks down the nuances of tone. Using some really relatable examples. Like, let's just say you're interested in like a graphic design position at a company.
Okay.
They actually compare three different approaches, like a casual approach, a blunt approach, and then, like the just right approach for a business setting.
I like that. Just right.
Yeah, so let's just say you're reaching out to inquire about the position. The casual approach might sound something like, hey, I think it'd be cool to work at your company. What do graphic designers even do there?
Yeah. I mean, I can already see where that's not going to land well in a professional setting.
Right.
It's a bit too informal and it doesn't sound like you've done your research.
Exactly. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have the blunt approach, which is, please tell me more about the graphic design position at your company.
Okay.
So it's direct, but
It's missing that human touch. It almost feels like a demand rather than an inquiry. I wouldn't want to respond to that email either.
exactly. It's a little bit harsh.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where the just right approach comes in. They actually give an example, and this is more like what they suggest. I am interested in pursuing a graphic design position at your company and would like to learn more about the job.
Mm.
Are you available to discuss this position? My availability is listed below.
Okay, that's good. You're clearly stating your purpose.
Yeah.
You're expressing genuine interest. You're even proactively offering your availability.
Right.
It's professional, but not like stiff.
Exactly. And I think that's a key takeaway here. Every email is an opportunity to showcase your professionalism.
Right.
It's not just about what you say, but it's how you say it.
So true. Now, this handout goes beyond just general tone. They actually break down the anatomy of a well-structured business email into 6 key steps.
Oh, wow.
Like, think of this as their masterclass.
Okay.
Are you ready to dive into those?
Yeah, let's do it. Because honestly, a well-structured email, it can make all the difference.
Okay, so hit me with step 1. What's first?
So it all starts with the greeting,
Okay.
which that seemingly simple dear or hello, that can actually feel like kind of a minefield sometimes.
Oh, tell me about it. When do you use the classic Dear Mr. and Miss So-and-so, and when's it okay to go to, like, a first name basis? I feel like I always overthink that.
Yeah, and you're not alone.
Yeah.
The handout actually suggests,
Yeah.
stick with the honorifics and last names
Yeah.
until you've established like a more casual relationship with someone.
That makes sense. Like, better safe than sorry.
Right.
Especially in those initial interactions.
Exactly. And speaking of honorifics, they actually have some interesting points about making sure you're using the correct titles these days. So, things like using Mist or Mr. or even MX or Doctor, and avoiding any outdated titles that might not really be considered appropriate today.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
It's just like a subtle but important way of showing that you are aware of those nuances, I think.
Totally. Being respectful and showing that you're, like, with it.
Yes.
You're tuned in.
Exactly.
You don't want to accidentally use something that someone's going to be like, ugh, how old are you?
Right, exactly.
Okay, so we've got the greetings down. We're using our honorifics. We're using last names until we get the green light for first names.
Right.
What's next on this checklist of how to write an email?
So step 4 is all about, introducing yourself and then, really importantly, your purpose.
Okay, so cut to the chase. Why are you emailing me?
Exactly, precisely.
Yeah.
You got to be clear and concise about, like, who you are and why you're reaching out. They actually give an example of a message where, the sender kind of misses the mark a little bit.
Oh, really?
And it goes something like this. My name is Sitlali, and I recently learned about the open position at your company, and I was wondering if I could, learn more about it.
Okay, so I see where they're going with this.
Yeah.
It's not terrible, but it's definitely missing. It's like, okay, well, what position are you interested in?
Right.
Like, are you trying to apply? Are
Yeah.
you just trying to network and talk to someone in that department?
Right. It leaves the recipient with way too many questions. So they actually say a more effective approach would be something like this. My name is Sitlali Guerrero, and I recently learned about the open computer science position at your company. I'm excited to learn more about it. Would it be possible to arrange a meeting with you to kind of discuss this further?
Okay. Now, see, that's a good.
Yeah.
Because you've stated your name, you've stated the specific position you're interested in, you've stated that you want to have a meeting to talk about it.
Exactly.
There's no questions.
And because you're so clear about your purpose, they can respond in a way that's more effective.
Right.
And it saves everyone a lot of time.
Totally. Efficiency is key.
Right.
So what's after our amazing introduction?
So step number 5 is all about expressing gratitude.
Oh, yes. The magic words. Thank you. Seems so simple, but I feel like it makes a world of difference.
It really, truly does. Whether you're thanking them for like their time or their consideration or, maybe even like their feedback,
Right.
a little appreciation, it goes such a long way.
Totally. And it shows that you value their input and you respect their time.
Yes.
I know I'm way more likely to respond positively to an email if I'm like, oh, they appreciate me.
Right. Of course.
Okay, we're on the home stretch. What is the final step of the perfectly structured business email?
The grand finale. The closing,
Great.
keep it professional
Yeah.
and straightforward.
So we're talking best, sincerely, regards, all those like classics.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
Like they even advise like steering clear of anything that's like overly casual or unconventional for a business setting.
Yeah.
So, things like thorax or emojis or like inspirational quotes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've gotten those before, and I'm always kind of like, okay.
Yeah, save it.
Yeah, not the vibe.
Exactly. So just stick to those tried and true professional closings.
Keep it simple.
Exactly. And you'll be good to go.
Now, this handout doesn't just stop at the anatomy of an email.
Right.
They go above and beyond. They have a whole section on additional tips for email excellence.
Yeah.
Are you ready for, like, the bonus round? I do. Lay it on me. What else is there? What, like, golden nuggets of email wisdom are in here?
One that I thought was great is all about, like, scheduling those meetings.
Okay.
And they basically say, if you can, list your availability up front.
Oh my gosh, game changer. Because I can't tell you how many times I've gone back and forth with someone trying to, like, nail down a meeting time. It's, like, impossible.
It's the worst.
So much easier when it's just like, here are the times I have.
Totally. Instead of doing that whole, does this time work for you?
Emailing
Back
back.
and forth.
A million times, yes.
Put it out there.
I'm all about efficiency, so I love that one. What else?
They also really emphasized having a really well-crafted subject line.
Oh, yeah.
Because, that's the first thing people see.
It's make or break.
It really is.
If I don't like the subject line, I'm like, delete.
Right. You decide whether you're even going to open the email.
Exactly.
So they say, think of it as your email's headline.
Ooh.
It needs to be informative and really specific and like attention grabbing.
And I'm also a big proponent of the title case. Like, important meeting just hits different than important meeting,
Absolutely, yes. It's the little things.
It is.
It's all about the details. And they also kind of go into some formatting things in here that I thought were interesting. Like using, bold or italics or underline instead of all caps for emphasis.
Because no one wants to be yelled at in their inbox.
Exactly. It's like, why are you yelling at me?
Yeah.
So aggressive.
Calm down.
I know. And then let's not forget about white space.
Oh, white space is my best friend. That thing, like, makes me be like, I'm over it. Faster than a wall of text.
Yes. Those paragraph breaks are so important.
So important. Give my eyes a break.
Give your reader a break.
Yes.
For sure. And of course, they emphasize the golden rule of email etiquette, which is
Drumroll, please.
proofreading.
Yes. Always, always, always proofread.
Always.
Before you hit send. Because it doesn't matter how confident you are, there's always going to be a typo.
It's true.
Or, like, you're going to say something weird and you're going to be like, I wish I could take that back.
Yep. Save yourself the embarrassment. Proofread, proofread, proofread.
Okay. So beyond those like more practical tips,
Yeah.
they talk about something that I think is really interesting, which is how you can use vocabulary to kind of elevate your business writing.
Yes, absolutely.
So like those subtle word swaps that just make you sound a little bit more, you know.
A little more polished, a little sharper.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
like, instead of saying, I need this report by Friday,
Right.
you could say something like, I require this report by Friday.
Ooh. Right, so it's still polite.
Still polite, right?
But it's a little more authority.
Exactly.
Okay, I like it. I like it. So do they have like other examples?
They do. They actually provide like a whole chart
Oh my gosh, I love a chart.
of casual phrases and like their more formal counterparts.
Amazing.
So it's like, a cheat sheet
I'm here for it.
for leveling up your vocab.
Love it, love it, love it. This handout is amazing. I feel like there's so much valuable information.
There's a lot in here. And you know what? The best part is they actually have some activities in here too.
Oh, I was going to ask about that. So it's not just theory. You get to actually apply what you've learned.
Yes, exactly.
What kind of activities do they have?
So one is called detect tone. And basically you analyze different phrases and, you have to say if it's like too casual or too blunt or if it's, just right for a business setting.
Yeah, it's good practice.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
And then they have another one called convert casual English into business English. And with that one, you're basically taking like everyday phrases and, you're kind of elevating them to make them sound more professional.
It's like a workout for your vocabulary.
Exactly.
I love it. So as we kind of wrap up our deep dive into business English, what are some like key takeaways that our listeners can implement right away?
I think first and foremost, just be mindful of your tone.
Yes.
Strike that balance like we talked about. Professional but approachable.
Right.
And then focus on like clear and concise emails. Get straight to the point.
Yes.
Don't bury the lead.
No one has time to like figure out what you're trying to say.
Exactly. And proofread, proofread, proofread.
Always. I feel like we've said that like a million times, but it's
So important.
It's so true. And, as you start to feel a little bit more comfortable with those things, maybe start incorporating some of those like vocabulary upgrades we talked about.
Yeah.
That could be a good next step.
Just like level up your language a little bit.
Totally. Yeah, it's a journey.
It is. It's all about like, continuous improvement.
Continuous improvement. I love it.
And on that note, maybe think about taking a look at like your recent business communication and try to identify maybe just one area where you could apply something we talked about today, whether it's, maybe tweaking your tone a little bit or, being a little bit more clear about your message or, maybe just proofreading a little extra carefully.
I love that. Well, that's a wrap on another deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us. And a huge shout out to San Jose State University Writing Center. This handout is amazing.
It was a pleasure to dive in with you.
And for our listeners, if you have any sources you want us to use in future episodes,
Yeah, send them over.
send them our way. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep those emails polished.